Thursday, November 15th, 2018. It's a little after 1 p.m. This is a special meeting of the Taos County Board of Commissioners.
Thank you.
We welcome everyone that's here today with us. I hereby call the meeting to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Chairman Bauer.
Present.
Vice Chair Davis.
Present.
Mr. Blankenhorn.
Present.
Commissioner O'Donnell. Present.
And for the record, Commissioner Romero was not here. Although the reason for this special meeting is he requested to be here for this topic, but that's another. At least we offered the opportunity. Please stand. Mayor Baroni, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Also, now you can see them pass it out hitting the mayor. Next item on the agenda, Commissioners, is approval of the agenda. Motion to approve. Second. Motion and second to approve the agenda. Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell. Yes. Commissioner Blankenhorn.
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis.
Yes.
Chairman Bauer.
Yes. Under item 5, under contracts, amendments, MOUs, RFPs, and bids, item E is discussion, consideration, and decision regarding approval of RFP 2018-02, County Lobbyist Services. This will be presented by our Chief Procurement Officer, Ms. Elsa V. Hill. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Commission. Before you in the packet today for RFP 2019-02, it was for County Lobbyist Services. We received 3 responses to our published RFP prior to the deadline of 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on October 29th. The offers who responded were Archuleta Consulting, Hedrick Consulting, LLC, and De La Tierra Consulting, LLC. All proposals were deemed responsive. Based on the review conducted for this RFP, staff recommends to award RFP 2019-02 for County Lobbyist Services for Taos County to De La Tierra Consulting, LLC, subject to negotiations of a mutually agreeable contract respectfully. I don't know if there's any questions the Commission may have.
I just had one question. According to the manager, 2 of the respondents, when we talked about this in the open meeting, Commissioner O'Donnell asked for daily logs and who they had lunch with and who they talked to and hourly logs to be presented every day. Commissioner Romero asked that it be considered to be a year-round service provided to the county, if at all possible. And I asked for experience with the county. My understanding is, after a conversation with the manager, that 2 of the respondents came back with the year-round as Commissioner Romero requested, and the one that you're recommending is for the session only. So where did that get different? Does that change the price, obviously, between 2 to 1?
It wasn't specifically spelled out in the RFP whether it was for a yearly contract or the 60-day session contract. That's just how those packets came through,
Okay.
and that's how that vendor presented their packet.
So the one that you're recommending is for the 60-day session only, correct?
Yes.
And I still don't understand the time sensitive of it, as I've been told, because the session starts mid-January, or only mid-November. But I guess that's just something I'll say for the record. If it's only for the session, then she's not going to be working until the session. So I still don't agree with that aspect.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, we would like to get whoever we pick on board prior to the session to start our strategizing, to have them also be available for our retreat in December. So the contract essentially would start as soon as we could and then end approximately 30 days after the 60-day session, which would allow them time to come and present to the board a final report from the session.
So was the retreat spelled out as part of the 60-day session then?
No, that wasn't spelled out in the RFP. That was just...
So that respondent could say, no, I don't want to do that. There's nothing we can do.
Yes, they could.
Okay. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that there may be some return committees that this person could start attending, depending on what our
So you're speaking for the respondent?
initiatives. Well, you just asked if she could say no. I don't believe anyone who gets this kind of contract is going to say no.
That was my question, is it for the 60-day or is it year-round as Commissioner Romero had requested?
Well, I think Ms. Hill would have to detail what the RFP said. I don't know what the RFP said, but I'm
Have you
sure
spoken
if
to her about it?
we needed to, Ms. Hill, no, if we were to see that the top respondent, the one who is being recommended, did a good job, and we wanted to ask her to do additional work, then I think that's, at the table for
Have you
anyone.
spoken to her about that?
Have I spoken to who?
To the respondent?
About, no, I have not about any specifics. I think that's probably up to the county manager to see. But I have worked with Ms. Quintana when House Bill 1112 was passed. She was very instrumental in making that happen, and I watched her gather all kinds of groups together, watched her work with Tax and Rev. She's highly qualified in her ability to form partnerships, collaborate. She knows many of the House and state leaders, so she's been at the Roundhouse a long time.
Other than with you, what is her interaction with Taos County? Has she ever been to a commission meeting? Just curious.
Well, I'm
Just wondering how familiar
I
she is.
don't,
As my request for the RFP was someone familiar with Taos County.
I think she's probably familiar, being a local resident, and is a fast learner.
Mr. Chairman,
Vice Chair Gagos.
Ms. Villa, you felt that the respondent of the RFP met the needs of the RFP that we put out, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
it met all the requirements that were necessary
Whether-
for the evaluation committee to review, yes.
whether we start using her tomorrow or we don't use her till January, she starts tomorrow, we're getting part. It's going to be a very cheap 120 days worth of work. Maybe, whatever that is.
Yeah.
If it's just for the session itself, that's another story, because then you have two other respondents that were putting their RFP together based on a year-round working relationship with the county. So I think we just got to get through this, but we need to make some things pretty clear. The commission is not prepared to accept what the RFP is going to go out and say, and if those respondents are not following, and if they don't have clarity themselves, and those contracts can't be, those submittals can't be approved because they don't even know what they're paying. I mean, it's difficult to say, I'm going to put an RFP for $25,000, think I'm doing it for a year, and everybody else is expecting only to do the session. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that. Commissioner Gallegos, on that particular vendor and on their packet, they gave a very detailed, literally snapshot with dates, times, committees, how they're going to lay out on how they're going to do it. It was extremely specific. The committee themselves were impressed by it. I mean, they were deadlines, dates, who they're going to work with, who they're going to talk to, how they're going to get the commission to see what their agenda is, what they want, what they need to go out there for and fight for at the legislative session. So that was the big key with the evaluation committee. That kind of, I think, swayed them from when they saw that in the packet. They were really impressed by that. The other two packets really had very vague kind of timelines. It wasn't very spelled out very well. It's just, yeah, I'm gonna do this, yeah, I'm gonna do that. But this one in particular really caught their eye because they were impressed with how it was broken out. Literally, it was like a snapshot. This is what's gonna happen this week, this week, this week, this week, this week, all the way down to the last day of the session when the governor has time to vote and when they're gonna come and actually update the commission on what occurs. So it was pretty detailed.
Anything that they basically do prior to legislation is on them, it's on their back.
And she actually did spell that out, that if, you know, in terms of her timeline, that it would start immediately once the contract is done, obviously, in pre-planning and getting ready for that session. Because apparently that is very crucial to know what's out there and what money we can go for right now, for whatever projects we're seeking.
Mr. Chairman, if I may just remind the commission that this wasn't, cost wasn't really factored into the scoring of this. Cost was a secondary after the scoring, didn't really weigh into it. And we haven't negotiated a contract yet, so we still have the ability to negotiate contractual terms with whoever's chosen. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Corliss, so in the contractual negotiation of the contract, if there's going to be an increase, because we're asking more of this individual to spend more time in Santa Fe pre-legislative session, will that come to the commission? Or will that be negotiated through you? Is that the authority we're going to give you to do?
It's not required to come back to the commission. The purchasing authority that you've given me allows me to sign a contract with it, whatever dollar amount, under $60,000. So it doesn't have to, if it's the will of the commission, I can do that. That's what you'd like to see. It's not a problem.
You know, I'll say, you do this RFP for 50 and you go into negotiations, and then they add an extra 10 or 15 because there's additional things that we're asking them to do. We're at $30,000.
In this case, this proposer actually included what would happen, let's say now November, December, preparing, gearing up for legislative session. It's inclusive of her price right now because that's what the snapshot says. So she would actually be able to start work as soon as the commission or the county manager gets his contract moved forward and so forth.
Okay. I don't have any questions.
Anything else? Commissioner Blankenhorn.
Thanks, Chairman. Each of the applicants knew that this was an RFP for a contract for the session.
Yes. Well, in terms of the 60-day session or just for this year's legislative session? I mean,
Well,
like I explained, it wasn't spelled out to say it was going to be a one-year contract, and it didn't spell out that it was going to be a 60-day contract. It just stated that we were looking for county lobbyists for Taos County for this 60-day session.
That was basically what I was asking.
Yes.
So everybody was clear that they needed to make a proposal to represent Taos County for this legislative session.
That's the way it was spelled out.
And the proposal that you're recommending included some amount of work in preparation before the session actually begins.
Yes.
And so it is to our advantage, I suppose, to get this settled and get everybody on board. As far as, statements by commissioners prior to the RFP, I want somebody year-round, I want somebody familiar with the county. I'm not sure how we can deal with that in the future. I guess that's what the chairman was getting at. But I was always under the impression that this was an RFP for the legislative session. And, if the manager believes that we need somebody full-time, or a majority of the board believes we need somebody full-time, then I guess that's something we'll have to consider in another contract.
And Mr. Chairman, I think just for clarification, that in the future, we take a vote, like, we have a vote on, it's going to be 60 days, it's going to be a year. I mean, we all made our recommendations, but I think we need to make sure that for these kind of situations, polling sometimes doesn't work because you don't get an accurate longer read, and in the future for anything that we want to do, I think we need to give a vote, or at least a nod, or some way, so, because this has kind of happened in the past with maybe other issues, that somebody will recommend something and someone else will nod and the other commissioner won't say anything. So in the future, to avoid this confusion, I would ask that we do that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Pleasure of the commission.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the RFP for the county lobbyist services as recommended by the interview committee based on a mutually negotiated contract.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the RFP recommended county lobbyists under RFP 2018-02, being De La Tierra Consulting LLC. Further discussion. Clerk call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Blakenher?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gagos?
Yes.
Chair McGovern?
No. Okay, item B. This is also you, Melissa?
Yes.
Discussion, consideration, and decision regarding the approval of award for ITB 2018-06A for Taos County Agricultural Center, Interior Improvement Center.
Again, before you is a packet with the staff recommendation. We received 3 responses to our published ITB 2018-06A. This is a second advertisement. The first advertisement came in way over budget, therefore all bids were rejected first round. The offers who responded were CDR Construction Incorporated, RBC General Contractor Incorporated, and Wayne Rutherford General Contractor. Based on the lowest price, staff recommends to award ITB 2018-06A for Taos County Agricultural Center interior improvements to RBC General Contractor Incorporated respectively. And I stand for any questions.
Commissioners?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the approval of the award for ITB 2018-06A for the Ag Center to it's RBC General Contractor Inc.
Yes.
Clerk call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Blakenher?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gagos?
Mr. Chair, just for discussion. This contract is from Taos?
Espanola.
Yeah.
Chair McGovern?
Yes. Next item under item 6, department matters. Item A is discussion, decision, and acceptance of number 1 of revision data time extension to March 29, 2019 for grant agreement 18-521-0410-0110 between State of New Mexico, EMNRD, and the Taos County for Latier Volunteer Fire Department, the amount of $7,223.65. The original reversion date will be December 21st, 2018, and this was a grant for the purchase of personal protective equipment for firefighting. Is this also or?
No. Mr. Chairman, actually, the reversion date is going to be moved to March 29th from the December 21st original date. And we are prepared to be able to spend the money definitely within that new time.
Motion to approve.
Second. So you need a motion?
Sure. We get to do that once a month.
Thanks.
I'm just going to throw me on here.
Second is by
Motion and a second. Clerk call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Blakenher?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gagos?
Yes.
Chair McGovern?
Yes. Item 6 is adjournment. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.